Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are currently on the test server right now, and there's a brand new champion that's added to the game, a fusion champion, that a lot of you are wondering, is this champion worth going for? Is he worth fusing? So I want to answer that question for you and let you know my thoughts on the champion, and we're going to go over the kit, we're going to go over the different areas in the game that he could cover, so let's get right into it. Alright, so we have Lonatharil from the High Elves Faction. He is a legendary champion and he's HP based. So let's go over his kit and see what he has. So for the A1 we have attack one enemy, decreases the target's max HP by 30% of the damage inflicted, places a shield buff equal to 10% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns on the ally with the lowest HP. So right off the bat, as soon as I read this, it's automatically telling me Scarab King. So this guy is going to be really strong for Scarab King, but let's see what the rest of his kit holds. For the A2, attacks all enemies, places a shield buff on all allies for 3 turns equal to 20% of this champion's max HP. If there are any dead allies, places a shield buff on all allies for 3 turns equal to 30% of this champion's max HP instead. This buff cannot be removed, stolen, transferred, spread, or have its duration increase or decrease by enemies or allies. And this is on a 3-turn cooldown when it's fully booked. Okay, I mean, so I'm curious what kind of numbers this guy could put out as far as damage. I don't really know what his multipliers are, but as far as the kit itself with the shield on all allies and can't be stripped basically, I guess it's interesting, but let's see what else is going on here. For the A3, we have places a 30% increased crit damage buff on all allies for 2 turns, then teams up with allies to attack one enemy. Okay, so ally attack Scarab King, it automatically streams to me this is going to be a decent champion for clan boss for early game to mid game particularly, if you're in need of any ally attacker that can help you dish out more damage, and also screams to me for blender composition for arena. So those are the 3 main areas that I think this guy will be decent for. And as far as the passive ability here, we have inflicts 20% more damage against targets under shield buffs. So that is it for the passive, and for the aura, increases ally HP and Doom Tower by 35%. Okay, so for the base HP we got 23,130, attack is 848. And his damage is based off of HP, so the attack is irrelevant. And for the defense, we have 1,189, 99 speed, 15% crit rate, and extra crit damage there, so 57% crit damage, resistance of 50, and accuracy of 0. So this guy, yeah, he doesn't need any accuracy at all. So I'm always curious what kind of damage champions can put out, so that's something I always test. And I'm also curious what kind of animation he has, so let's get right to that. Alright, so we are on campaign right now, and I do want to see what kind of animation he has. Hopefully it's something new. Hopefully it's pretty cool, as cool as he looks, because he looks pretty cool. He looks like a male version of an Arbiter, dare I say. So starting with the A here, let's just see what kind of looks like. Okay, it looks different. He kind of throws a bit of wind, right? A bit of like sand gust or something. Like there was a little bit of that going on, so it was definitely a different look, I would say. So onto the A3 here, this is the ally attack here. So okay, so it's pretty typical, just the same thing going on here. And for the A1, boom, there we go. So that is his animation. So I do want to move on to see what kind of damage he can put out now, so let's get on to that. Alright, so for this test right here, we're going to be testing the damage of Lonatharil. I'm curious what kind of numbers he's going to be putting out. I don't know the multipliers, but we have Magnar as the comparison for the damage. So we got Ursuga in here for the lead for the all battles, 33% HP. And we also have Dracomore for the defense down weaken AoE. We have Gerptug as the increased damage that we're going to get as well. I could throw in a Battle Khazar in here too if I want to, but we'll just go with as is like this. And then we have Magnar, of course. So we're going to be basically swapping the two, the Magnar and the Lonatharil in between afterwards, just to see the damage difference. And they're going to be wearing the same gear pretty much, so it'll be a nice side-by-side comparison. So let's see what happens here. And we're on Dragon 23 right now. Okay, so we got defense down weaken here. Okay, we didn't land it there, but it's okay. And we have a increased damage. And now, here we go. At 1 time speed for Magnar's damage. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Pretty strong. So I don't have my best possible Savage gear on Magnar right now, but we have a nice number that we can compare to now with the damage. So let's go to our other champion now and test his damage after I re-gear, of course. Alright, so we are back, and we have Lonatharil here, pretty much in the same exact gear as Magnar's, and the Savage set with the speed gear. And yeah, let's test his damage now and see what happens. So same exact setup as before. We have the Dracomorph with the AoE defense down and weaken. And then we got the additional damage from the Grip Tuck. And at 1x speed, at 1x speed. So this is AoE, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this guy is not really meant to be a damage dealer at all. Yeah. So, okay, so that is good to know. He's not a damage dealer, guys. That is not his role. So the only other area we can test him now is Scarab King to see how efficient he is there. So let's get onto that one. Alright, so we covered the animation, we covered the damage, and now for the Scarab King. So right now I have him regeared in Regeneration set, the same set that I would use for my Vergus, along with the Immortal set as well. So right now he's wearing my Vergus gear, the Epic Champion that can also solo Scarab King. And the stats are, yeah, it's pretty high, 82,000 HP. We want to make sure we're above 350 resistance for Scarab King hard on stage 100. So that is a mark you want to hit. The accuracy, again, I don't need. I just try to go for a decent amount of speed, decent amount of defense, and that's pretty much it here. So for the masteries, we have him wearing War Master, and yeah. Alright, for this one, I'm going to step away and let it run through. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and we'll get back to you after the run is over. Alright, conclusion time, guys. So we tested his damage. He's not really meant to be a damage dealer. And I also don't have him booked as well for this entire video because I want to get to a point here. But before I get to that point, we tested him in Scarab King, and I would say he does it just as fast, maybe a little faster, a little slower than Vergus. I think they're around the same, to be honest. Yeah, he gets the job done. He can definitely solo Scarab King, but I mean, the gear is still intensive if you're still trying to do Doom Tower hard, but as far as Doom Tower normal, it should be a lot easier. So if you need help with Doom Tower for Scarab King, then this will definitely be a great champion to fill out that role. But Vergus is also an epic champion that can fill that role out, right? So Scarab King, and as far as arena goes, he is definitely a champion that can be used in blender compositions where you take other AoE champions with him, you take a really fast champion like Arbiter or whomever you have, and just speed up, go first, have this guy use ally attack on this ability, and then have your AoE damage dealer go and just nuke down the enemies. But the issue with this is, alright, so the thing is, this guy is a legendary champion, right? And he has arguably, probably actually, the worst ally attack in the game. Like, Lanakis has a better version of this, even though she can only take 3 champions. But as far as arena goes, it's definitely the Lanakis over this guy. And as far as Farrakhan the Fat, he is able to increase the crit rate and the attack, I believe. Let's just go over that real quick, just so I can make sure. Farrakhan the Fat, whoops, wrong one. Farrakhan the Fat can increase, yeah, crit rate and crit damage on all allies. So the only difference here is he's able to put out on everybody, but he will be the only one that can't attack that enemy. But either way, the buffs are still better on an epic champion. And as far as the other champions that also have ally attack like Krila, she definitely has a better version of it as well. Increased attack and crit rate for all allies and attack all enemies. So this is pretty huge as well. Maybe you could say crit damage is better, but I mean, this is filling out 2 slots of buffs. So that is a lot of ground you can just cover up. And onto the other champion that has ally attack, a Cardial, right? Crit rate, crit damage. He has it all in one ability here, basically, without the attack up. But this is a better version as well. So again, we go back to the ally attack that he has, and it's the weakest one, guys, right? It is the weakest one for a legendary champion. But we have to be understanding and know that this is a technically free to play champion that you can actually earn in game as a free to play. You just have to do a lot of the events and whatnot, but you can actually earn this champion, right? You don't have to actually pull for him. So that is the one thing going for him as far as that goes. But the thing is, if you're an endgame player, if you're farming gold 5, then I guess the blended composition is really nice there. But if you're going for, you can't really use a blender comp in platinum push. I mean, with everybody wearing stone skin and whatnot, it's just not a smart move, right? So is this meant for an endgame player? Definitely not. Definitely not an endgame champion. Is it meant for a late game player? Definitely not. It's not meant for a late game player. So who is this meant for? I would say this is meant for more of the early to mid game players that need help with faction wars, that need help with maybe even clan boss. Ally attack is really nice in clan boss as well. It definitely comes in handy. But again, the buff is a little bit lacking if I'm being honest. But as far as Scarab King goes, that is definitely going to be his area that he shines, I guess. But again, compared to a Vergus, of epic champion, it's a little bit more lacking there. Maybe if he could have done it faster, that would have been the saving grace. But so if I'm being honest, guys, this might be the one champion that I skip out on my free-to-play account. On my free-to-play account, I make it a mission to do every single fusion, every single fragment summon that I can. But this guy doesn't really bring anything to the table that I need on that account, and it might not be what you need on your account either. But if you have the resources and if you're able to get a champion during a fusion or a fragment champion, I would still try to go for it if you can, because you never know when the champion could get buffed in the future, or maybe somewhere his kit could really come in handy later down the line. So I'm still going to be sleeping on it, whether I want to go for this champion or not on my free-to-play account. On my main account, I'm definitely going to go for it because I like to fill out my Pokédex. I want to make sure I can collect every champion I can. So on my main account, I'm definitely going to go for him. But again, who is this meant for? It's not meant for endgame players. It's not meant for late game players. It's definitely meant for early to mid game players that are in need of a champion like this. But as far as factions goes, High Elves has so many strong champions as it is. I don't really need this guy on my faction team for my free-to-play account. So those are my thoughts, guys. I personally think this guy is definitely lacking when it comes to most legendary champion. But once again, we have to understand that they're not going to constantly put out like crazy champions on every fragment or every fusion champion or anything like that. So I would say this guy is more of a filler champion. Okay, so that's how I look at it. And one last thing I do want to point out is there's a reason why I did not book this guy, because I could have booked him to see what kind of extra damage he could have done, but I already got a good gauge based off of the damage we saw from earlier. That 20% damage is not really going to cut it too much. So as far as his kit goes, a lot of champions in the game you don't have to book. You can still get by without booking them and still get a lot of content done, unless you're really just trying to min-max. But let me just use my free-to-play account as an example. I have so many legendary books saved up and epic books saved up because I just want to make sure I have enough for anything later down the line that I want to really go hard on. And I have a lot of champions that I'm not even booking. I think I have 3 champions booked on there, and that's because I can do most of the content in the game already, like without really worrying about getting to the cooldowns fast enough and whatnot. But of course, if you book out this champion, it'll be a lot better. But I don't think you have to book out this champion. So even if you are an early game player, mid game player, I would say do not book this champion. Don't waste it on this guy, okay? I'm not saying he's a bad champion, but I'm also saying he's not someone you want to invest your books into, that you might regret it later, because there's other champions that are far better that are worth investing your books into, like without having any regrets. So yeah, so those are my thoughts, guys. I hope you guys found this informative one way or another. Is this champion worth going for? I think I already explained most of it already, right? So yeah, there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoy my content in general, please make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you all in the next video.